So today I want to talk about an issue that significantly impact the life of university student yet doesn't always get the attention it deserves, which is post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. So we will explore what it is, why it affects student, and how we can address it together. So let's start with the basics. So PTSD is a mental health disorder caused by traumatic event, and it disrupts a person's daily life, impacting their emotions, relationships, and ability to function. So for students, this means struggling with academic, social connection, and also personal well-being. And university life is challenging. So students face constant academic pressure like financial worries and social expectation. And for some, especially those in conflict-affected regions, exposure to the traumatic events only increases the risk of PTSD. So this makes students particularly vulnerable to the disorder. So let's look globally. About 10 until 20% of young adults experience PTSD. So this rate different by region. So in US it's 7.5%, in Nigeria 19%, and in Rwanda a staggering 34%. So this number show that PTSD is a widespread issue affecting millions of students. So now let's look example region at Goma, a city in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So here many students face trauma from violence and natural disaster, and studies show that over 70% have experienced sexual assault trauma, and nearly 30% have been affected by natural disaster, and this event have left lasting scar on this community. Other than that, female students are even more vulnerable. They are often experience PTSD due to the sexual or domestic violence and childhood abuse. And yeah, unfortunately, this also can lead to the other mental health issue, for instance, depression and anxiety, further impacting their academic and also social life. And lastly, our study aims to shine a light on PTSD in university students, and we want to raise awareness, recommend prevention strategies, and also encourage those affected to seek the professional help. And the goal is to ensure students feel supported and empowered to overcome this challenge. So that's all from me. Thank you.
So next, I will explain to you about what causes PTSD. So bear in mind that actually PTSD does not occur for all individuals if each of us gone through any traumatic event, because it is different from people to people, depend on the individual's vulnerability, genetics, coping skill, and also the support system to deal with the traumatic event itself. So the point that I have stated here actually is from the program itself, the PTSD Kenali Fahami and Atasi, and I also have made research to back up with the point as the evidence. So the first point actually, natural disaster. So basically natural disasters such as COVID-19 pandemic can also cause PTSD to certain individuals. For example, surviving a natural disaster such as flooding, earthquake, and also the previous event that occurs in Los Angeles, which is the LA wildfire burns. And the second point is exposure to violence, as what has been stated in by Pereira 2018. The most common trauma type reported in Northeast Brazil among students is violence, the student that has witnessed or learned about violence, death, or harm to a third party. So, for example, if someone has gone to a military war or terrorist attack or even threats, they can also develop PTSD because of that. So the third point is sexually assault. For specifically rape, if someone has been raped, they can also occur post-traumatic stress disorder, as what has been stated by Muderwa and Free University of Great Lake Countries 2024. they discovered that there is a significant relationship between sexual violence and also PTSD. So next, I will explain to you about what causes PTSD. So bear in mind that actually PTSD does not occur for all individuals if each of us gone through any traumatic event, because it is different from people to people, depend on the individual's vulnerability, genetics, coping skill, and also the support system to deal with the traumatic event itself. So the point that I have stated here actually is from the program itself, the PTSD Kenali Fahami and Atasi, and I also have made research to back up with the point as the evidence. So the first point actually, natural disaster. So basically natural disasters such as COVID-19 pandemic can also cause PTSD to certain individuals. For example, surviving a natural disaster such as flooding, earthquake, and also the previous event that occurs in Los Angeles, which is the LA wildfire burns. And the second point is exposure to violence, as what has been stated in by Pereira 2018. The most common trauma type reported in Northeast Brazil among students is violence, the student that has witnessed or learned about violence, death, or harm to a third party. So, for example, if someone has gone to a military war or terrorist attack or even threats, they can also develop PTSD because of that. So the third point is sexually assault. For specifically rape, if someone has been raped, they can also occur post-traumatic stress disorder, as what has been stated by Muderwa and Free University of Great Lake Countries 2024. They discovered that there is a significant relationship between sexual violence and also PTSD. So the next factors is actually life and death situation. Waters and colleagues 2024 actually have stated in their study, which said the most frequent event experience was received news of a traumatic event followed by adult abusive experience. So actually life and death situation, for example, it could be a traumatic childbirth as a mother, or as a partner witnessing a traumatic birth, or even if we receive any bad news about the death of our loved one, or if our loved one has gone through accident or something. So it can be traumatic to certain people. And the last point is being abused. According to Walters also and colleagues 2024, and individuals who were reported to face an aggression or abusive behavior intentionally develop a high PTSD symptoms than those who face unintentional events. So for example, if someone has been abused by partners or even the family members itself, or if they have been harassed or bullied, including racism, sexism, homophobia, and other types of abusive targeting our identity, it can be very traumatic to certain people.
University life is often described as a time of growth, self-discovery, and opportunity. However, for students with post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD), the experience can be fraught with unique challenges that affect their academic performance, mental health, and also social well-being. PTSD can significantly hinder a student's ability to excel academically, and students with PTSD often struggle with concentration, memory issues, and also the ability to manage stress, all of which are crucial for academic success. And research has shown that individuals diagnosed with PTSD between the ages of 6 until 25 are 73% less likely to complete a university degree compared to those without the disorder. Furthermore, students with PTSD frequently exhibit lower grade point averages, particularly in their first year as they grapple with the transition to university life and also the demands of coursework. And these academic difficulties highlight the need of targeted support to help such students reach their full potential. The social environment of a university can also pose challenges for students with PTSD. Many struggle to form and maintain relationships due to feelings of isolation, mistrust, or fear. PTSD often impairs social functioning, making it harder for students to participate in group activities or build meaningful connection. Emotional regulation can also be difficult, leading to mood swing or emotional numbness, which may further alienate them from peers. And these challenges underscore the importance of fostering a sense of belonging and community for students with PTSD. Last but not least, the university environment itself can inadvertently trigger PTSD symptoms. Crowded lecture halls, noisy events, and tight deadlines can be overwhelming for students. Even seemingly benign situations such as group discussion or presentation can evoke anxiety or even episode of flashback. Without adequate accommodation, this trigger can make university life particularly daunting for students with PTSD. That's all for the impact of university life. So I pass to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Azim bin Muhammad Hashim. My matrix number is 215840. For preventing PTSD among university students, start with effective mental health management. The university experience can be stressful due to academic demand, financial pressure, or traumatic event like violence. To cope with PTSD, having a good support system is important for helping university students prevent with PTSD. Trusted friends, family, or close connection can provide a safe and understanding space when students feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. This support helps them feel less alone and encourage emotional healing. After that, seeking a therapist is another helpful step. Therapists can help students deal with their emotion, understand their experience, and learn way to cope. Many universities offer free or low-cost counseling so students can get help easily. Last but not least, joining club, sport, or other activity is a great way to make friends and build emotional strength. University also offer resources like wellness center and quiet space to help students relax and manage stress. Using this resource can help students stay healthy and happy during their time at university.
Hello and a very good day to everyone. So now I, Muhammad Mukrifan bin Zaini, with my matrix number 215651, will now be talking about the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, or as known as PTSD. So there will be a lot of treatments that can be done to treat the PTSD, but we only talk about three things for now. So the first one would be CBT, or as known as cognitive behavioral therapy. This treatment usually involves the efforts to change thinking patterns, and the strategies might include to learn to recognize one distortions in thinking that are creating problems, getting a better understanding of the behavior and motivation of others, using problem-solving skills, and learning to develop a greater sense of confidence in one's own abilities. And this treatment is also usually involves effort to change behavioral patterns as well. And this including facing one's fears instead of avoiding them, using role-playing, or learning to calm one's mind and relaxing the body. Okay, but then not all CBTs will use all of these strategies. Rather, the psychologist and the client will work together in a collaborative form to develop an understanding of the problem and to develop a treatment strategy. Next, we're moving on to the eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or as known as EMDR theory. Unlike other treatments, this treatment will focus directly on altering the emotions, thoughts, and responses resulting from traumatic experience. And this therapy also focuses directly on the memory and is intended to change the way that the memory is stored in the brain, thus reducing and eliminating the problematic symptoms. There would be multiple phases in order to do this EMDR. And fun fact, you need to have a certification in order to conduct this treatment. And now let's move on to the last treatment of the PTSD that we have discussed, which is medications. For medications, we have two types of antidepressant medications that have been used worldwide, which is SSRIs and SNRIs. SSRIs mean selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, while SNRI is serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. And there are two SSRIs and one SNRIs that are recommended for these PTSD. The first one would be Zetraline, which they sell it as in the brand of Zoloft. The second SSRI would be paroxetine, that have been sold as Paxil. And for the SNRIs, we have venlafaxine, which is sold as the brand of Effexor. So thank you. That's all from my part. Now let's move on to the next presenter.
Next, I will tell you what is the coping mechanism for students for PTSD. So as what we have learned in class, there are actually two types of coping mechanism, which are problem-focused coping mechanism and also emotion-focused coping mechanism. So basically, what is the difference between these two is problem-focused is more on a coping mechanism to remove the feeling. It is more like a long-term punya consequences, and also emotion focus is more like a short-term coping mechanism, because we want to remove the feeling, the unpleasant feeling when we experience any stressor. So in this case, PTSD. So for first coping mechanism for students, for problem-focused coping mechanism, the first one is CISD, which is, as what we have learned in class, CISD means Critical Incident Stress Debriefing. So what is CISD? CISD is actually a process through which a facilitator, which is a professional person, helps a group of people work through their response to a highly stressful or traumatic event, which this process of problem-focused coping mechanism, it happens in groups, to remove the traumatic event from their thinking. And for the second one is establish daily routine. So actually, by establishing a daily routine for a person with PTSD, or if we occur any traumatic event, it helps us to have the control over our day. For example, you set to wake up early in the morning and go for a morning walk. It could help you to feel like, you have the power over your life, not by the traumatic event itself. And for the third part is you need to know when to seek help. So in terms of PTSD, how do you know if you have to seek help, or is it just a normal stress after any traumatic event? So basically, if the traumatic event have interfered with your relationship, or it has affect your daily functioning, and also if the sign or the symptoms of PTSD last for at least more than a month, then you could maybe you could consider consult with any clinical psychologist or counselor to get help. So the next part, for emotion focus, actually I get the problem focus for establish and know when to seek help, and also the emotion focus part from the program that Madam Shamimi have shared. So it is a new knowledge for us. So I would like to share about the emotion focus. We can focus on breathing. For example, if that feeling of PTSD come, you could try to focus on your breathing, as what we have learned in class. Maybe you could try do an abdominal breathing, or meditation. Yeah. So for the second part, you could talk to others about your condition so that others can help you, so you won't feel alone. And the third part is maybe you could carry an object that reminds you that you are in present. Maybe you could grip on a ball. For example, there is this object that we call fidget spinner that mostly school students love to play with it, but actually it can also be used for a person who develop mental disorders, so that they won't get carried away by the feeling of fear that they had because of any past traumatic event. So the third point is you need to ensure yourself that you are safe. Like I said before, the person who develop PTSD often will feel the fear of any past traumatic event. So they feel that they are in danger. So by ensuring that you are safe, it will help to change the way you think. That before this you think that you are in danger because of this event that triggers you, but you can switch the way you think by ensuring that you are safe. You're not in that place anymore. You are here in the present. So the next point is to keep a diary. So actually, by keeping a diary, some people might think that it is like an old school style as for a coping mechanism, but actually by keeping a diary and journaling, it really helps to track your emotions on what you feel at that moment. And the last point is grounding technique. So the same as the third point, actually the grounding techniques is when you use your senses. You touch the grass, the hair, the walls or something, so that you know that you are in the present. You are not in that place anymore. So these are the coping mechanism for students that you guys can use if you go through any traumatic events or if you develop PTSD.
So in conclusion, PTSD is not a very rare and is a quite common case in Malaysia. Hence, by doing the program which is PTSD, Kenali, Atasi dan Fahami, we all achieve our targeted goals and objective to spread awareness and making sure fellow students get the knowledge and idea in depth about real cases and also what is PTSD. So I think that's all from me, and thank you.